Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of this F1 24 Driver Career Mode. Today is pre-season for Season 2. If you did miss the last episode, the season finale to Season 1, it was not a great race for us. Qualified pretty poorly, thankfully, due to some final race engine penalties from a heap of the AI drivers. We did get promoted towards the top 10 for the start of the race, but it all just went downhill from there, and then just ended up with a very silly mistake. I ran wide at turn 1 and ended up in the wall. But we're going to go straight to our options for 2025 in the driver market, and it's a surprising one to start with, being Red Bull are interested in our services to possibly replace Sergio Perez, which is definitely not one I had on my radar. But if we do have a look at the recognition, we would be at only a measly 29% to our teammate Max Verstappen, and I want to at least be a minimum of equal terms to what we're currently at, which is 49% to what we're at with Sauber at the moment. Moving along to the idea of re-signing with Sauber, I have embedded myself into the team nicely and have proven to have a good bond with them after claiming 2 Grand Prix victories and a sprint race win as well. And our recognition will not be changing at all with Bottas, and it would stay at 49% when at one point during the season it was over 50%. So I guess you could say it would still be a bit of a step backwards if we were to stay with Sauber, but at least, as I said before, we're embedded into the team. We've got a good relationship with everyone in the team, and they know what we're capable of. And the next team that we can be talking about here is the team we've been talking to in all of our secret meetings until Sauber found out. RB will be a step backwards in terms of car performance, but not by a lot. Our recognition against Sonoda, though, will be a whopping 59%, which is more than my 50% minimum that I'm trying to hunt for. And finally, Williams. So they're also interested in our services, and again, a step backwards in car performance, but not by a massive amount. Our recognition will be at 53%, and we would be replacing Logan Sargent, so our teammate would be Alex Albon, and now starting the negotiations with RB. We're going to go with RB. I've got really no other way. The recognition is the main thing I'm after here, and I know it's going to be a step back in the car performance, but that recognition was just too good. We're going to go for a level above the recommended, being 90 driver rating at the end of our 1 season long contract. We're just going to stick with a singular season here, and that's it. I am now an RB driver, so we will be jumping into the RB for Season 2. We are back in the Red Bull family for the next part of our career, trying to see if we can't get ourselves back to that Red Bull seat. I could have jumped straight to the Red Bull seat, but I feel like in only Season 2 of our Formula 1 career, Max Verstappen maybe could have just been too much for us. And also, just the fact there was only 29% recognition, that was a big turn away from that as well. So at least by going back to RB, we can have a bit of a stepping stone back into Red Bull. And now we have the contract negotiations all out of the way, and our move for next season is all done and dusted. Let's take a look at the end of season. So currently, we're behind our rival, Lewis Hamilton. We're leading the rivalry against Sergio Perez. We just need one more driver rating level to win that one, and our recognition against Bottas will end our relationship at 49% recognition. So not too bad. It's a little disappointing that I didn't quite get up there towards the 51% where it used to be. And looking at our season in numbers, 2 wins, 1 pole position, 198 points, 8th in the championship, 2 accolades, and up 8 levels in the driving ratings, with 3% driver recognition gained during the season as well. So not too bad considering it's our rookie season, and we have got a lot to look forward to in the upcoming season, and we now need to know where we will be going for next season. So the 2025 season, it's Saudi Arabia, the season opener, to Australia for our home race, race 2. Then it's China, Imola, Canada, Spain, Austria, the UK. We head back to Silverstone, where we had that really chaotic race. Belgium, Netherlands, Monza, Azerbaijan. We return to the US in Kota, the only American race this season with the removal of Miami and Las Vegas. And then it's off to Brazil and the season finale once again in Abu Dhabi. And we have got an absolute mega season lined up. So now let's go straight into having a look at what the rest of the grid is going to look like for the 2025 season. And starting with our reigning Constructors' Champions, McLaren. They will go into the new season with an unchanged driver lineup, keeping both Lando Norris, whom in the last season won his first World Drivers' Championship, running the number one on the car. Lando will be looking to go back to back and assert his dominance in the sport. Alongside Lando will be Australian driver Oscar Piastri, who had a decent season, finishing third in the championship, but would be wanting to close the deficit to his teammate, who was over 100 points clear of him at the conclusion of last season. Oscar did manage to claim his first ever Grand Prix victory by claiming the win at the British Grand Prix after a chaotic end to the race. And moving to Red Bull now, the runners-up of last season, they will have an unchanged driver lineup in their squad for the upcoming season after a fairly disappointing season despite finishing second. They were 152 points short of McLaren in the constructors. Their main driver Max Verstappen, who is now back in the 33 car, was only 15 points shy of a fourth world championship despite winning the final race in Abu Dhabi. Sergio Perez will also still be driving for the British race squad, who finished the season in 10th position. And moving to Ferrari now, the first of the changes have begun, and we start looking at the drivers. Just like in real life, Lewis Hamilton has moved to Ferrari for the 2025 season. Their lineup of Charles Leclerc and Hamilton look to be very strong, with the Ferrari ending the season as one of the top cars on the grid. Ferrari also running a slightly altered livery, with removing the white on the wings, with the departure of HP and replacing it with the yellow seen in previous years. Now to Mercedes. So who is replacing Lewis Hamilton? We have to find out. It's going to be Carlos Sainz, who has joined the Mercedes this season. They're doing essentially a swap of drivers. Sainz, who finished the 2024 season in 6th position ahead of Hamilton, looking to be a strong driver to drive alongside George Russell, who becomes the team leader. Petronas has also left the team, and AMD will now replace Petronas. And the teal on the car will also be replaced with some green to change up the livery just a little bit. And Aston Martin now, with no surprise, the racing green Aston Martins have had an unchanged driver lineup, but they have had some changes as well. Armco leaves the teams after a long stint as title sponsors, but by the end of the season, Aston was a very good car, with both drivers Fernando Alonso and Stroll putting in really good performances, and they will be hoping to continue the momentum into the new season. And to Sauber, after a brilliant season finishing in 6th in the constructors, it wasn't at the end that they wanted to the season with a double DNF, but changes have been made, and myself has moved on from the team after my impressive rookie season performance, which saw myself claim 8th in the Drivers' Championship alongside 2 Grand Prix wins and a sprint win with a pole position, and became very hot property in the driver market. To replace myself at the team will be Yuki Tsunoda, who, after failing to get the desired Red Bull seat once again, decides to leave the Red Bull family and moves to Sauber to essentially restart his career with a new focus. He'll be driving alongside Valtteri Bottas, who had a decent season where the results didn't start showing until the second half of the season, and now to RB. So after claiming my F2 championship with Red Bull, but unfortunately no seats being available at Red Bull or RB for the 2024 season, I had to end my relationship with Red Bull to get myself a seat with Sauber. After proving my worth on the grid, Red Bull have regained their interest in me and given me the opportunity to originally replace Daniel Ricciardo, but in a shock turn of events, it's going to be Yuki Tsunoda who's opted to leave RB and has now become an all-Australian lineup with myself and Daniel driving for the team. I'll be paired up against a multiple-time race winner and someone who has had previously driven for Red Bull, so hoping to use Daniel to get some knowledge as to what I should be expecting from the Red Bull main squad, and will be running an altered livery, dropping the white, which never really became a fan favourite, and now running a much more Toro Rosso spec livery. And to Alpine now, for the new season, Alpine will have an unchanged driver lineup, keeping the services of Esteban Ocon, who finished 12th, only 4 points ahead of his teammate Pierre Gasly in 13th. For Alpine, who are looking to try and get themselves out of this bottom 5 bracket in the R&D, consistency may just be what they need this season. And to Williams, they've had a disappointing season, finishing 9th in the Constructors, which all points came from Alex Albon. Teammate and second driver in the team, Logan Sargent, will also remain at the team despite not scoring a point at all during the duration of his season. And finally, Haas, the team that finished last in the Constructors, really needed to do something to change their luck around. In doing that, they have opted for a driver change. Nico Hulkenberg will remain at the team, even though he did not score a point during the season. Kevin Magnussen, who scored all of Haas's points last season, has left the team, and he has been replaced by Zhou Guanyu, who makes a return to Formula 1 after missing last season due to myself taking his seat at Sauber. And that is going to be all for this little video here. Just a quick rundown of all of the changes going into the new season of F1 24 driver career mode season 2. A few big changes. Hamilton to Ferrari, massive one. Ourselves going to RB, trying to improve our career in Formula 1. And then a couple of names I was not expecting to see move. The Zhou Guan Yu coming back to the F1, I thought that was not going to be happening. And then also Yuki Tsunoda leaving RB. I thought Yuki and RB was going to hang on for another season or two. So we're going to have to see how all of these driver changes work out and how the R&D works out as well when we go straight into season 2 by going to Saudi Arabia. I'll see you then. Goodbye.